Welcome to the Queer Confidence Podcast, the podcast to help you become your most confident queer self. I'm your host, he, she, they, Coach Alex Ray, and I haven't always been this confident. In fact, I used to be super insecure. And through this show, I want to share with you what's worked for me, my clients, and my guests so that you can become more confident. Hello, unicorns! How are you doing today? I have a special guest with me today, one of my unicorns, my icons as well, Brian Grainger. He is, and you're gonna have to tell me if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong, because I probably am. Am I?
Yeah, it's slightly wrong. It's Grainger.
Grainger. Okay. Is that better? Grainger.
Yeah,
Jeez Louise.
perfect.
I'm a train wreck, y'all. Thank you. We've worked together for 7-8 months. I don't know, and I'm still can't say your last name correctly. Okay.
Not a big deal.
Thank you. All right, y'all. So, now that I've lost my train of thought, of course, and we're just having a good time. This is conversational. Welcome to real life. We are going to share with you some amazing, amazing breakthroughs that Brian has had in the last few months of us working together in my Confident Queer program. And he's now also in my Iconic Queer Mastermind. And it has been an absolute joy, a huge pleasure to work with Brian. And I can't wait for you, because I was reviewing our notes and pulling out some little topics for him to share with you today of some of the breakthroughs he's had. Get ready to have your mind fucking blown. Particularly, we're going to be talking about some, if you are more of a control freak, like the two of us can be, this is going to help you relax and enjoy play a little bit more. And if you're looking to get out there and meet your ideal partner or partners, we've got some incredible advice for you. So, without any further introduction, welcome to the podcast, Brian. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Alex. It's so exciting. It's so thrilling. Hi, everyone. As a listener of the podcast, it's really fun to be on it. It's really exciting. I'm really honored. It's been so mind-blowing for me working with you over these last 7-8 months, how long it's been now. And it's just a beautiful reflection from how far I've come and how much more fun my life is now than what it was.
Yes. It's so, because when we first started, you really, I could tell there was this big, amazing character kind of squeezed into a little jar. You were like the genie stuck in his lamp.
Yeah, I really love that. It was there was lots of hiding I felt there. Mm-hmm. And even though I knew I do have a big personality, this won't be surprised to people who know me well, but I was hiding my light. I really felt like I wasn't shining and letting myself be. And that's been the great joy that's come over working together in the program, that now I get to be more me and like it.
Yes. And all of us get the pleasure of getting to interact with the more vibrant you too. Mm-hmm. So it's a gift to you. It's a gift to the world. Thanks. So cool. Thank you for being you. Okay. I think we should, you choose. Where do you want to start here? Would you rather start with the play aspect or?
Yeah. So maybe I could share a little bit of my backstory there a little bit,
please,
just to let people know where I came to coaching with you in the Confident Queer program.
Go for it.
Awesome. Because I've been out for a long time, so I'm sure on my age. So I'm 46 now. I've been out since I was 17, 18. But I've also realized I've not been fully out. Not been fully me. Sometimes as queers, what we do is we get in that place where we do the live emission, right? I just don't talk about it. I didn't bring it up in my work. I just avoided questions or talked around them, used neutral terms. things like that. Oh, it's kind of ahead of my turn using general neutral
Right.
pronouns.
No one else in the whole community has ever experienced this, right? We've never
No,
done
exactly.
that.
Right.
uh,
And so I used to say, like, and I've heard this phrase so many times, so I'm sure many listeners maybe have done this in the past, where I never lied, but also never explicitly said. And I was doing that with my clients in my work and, with acquaintances, strangers, friends of friends, where I just didn't talk about any of that part that really is such a fundamental part of my identity, right? I feel like I've been denying, like, living as that part of myself. We talked a little bit about not letting my, the piece of me that's the flamboyant, the fabulous part. And so I really came to a place where, I'd been doing some stuff and I'd been doing some work in another mastermind where I was really trying to do things someone else's way. And I just got totally burnt out by it. And I don't know if I shared the story with you, but hopefully this is relevant. Before we started, I don't know, 6 months or so, maybe a bit longer, 8 months maybe, before we started, a friend of mine's child came out as trans. And I was so overwhelmed with pride and with gratitude and a fierce, like, protective devotion to her. But just to let us know that, like, she's 14, 15 now. And I was so thrilled because I was so proud of her, of letting us know who she's always been and inviting us, and just her declaration to, I'm going to live authentically who I am. And I was just so overwhelmed with that process. And I was overwhelmed with the pride of her family for being so accepting and having such a great environment where she was safe to do that, which is a beautiful thing. I think this is a sign of how far we've come in lots of areas.
Yeah.
But it also started this chain of thought for me where I realized that, oh, hang on, wait. There's parts of me that, like, although I'm out, there's parts of me that have not been living as my true self. And, it took me a few months to really sort of take action on it. But when I came to you, I was like, I'm hiding. I was filled with so much shame about what I wanted, my desires and who I'd been in denial about some parts of myself for so long that I didn't even kind of know who I was. And so this has been such a beautiful discovery. I really think this first 6 months program that we've done together for me has been, I called it, it's been discovering myself and allowing myself to be me finally.
Yeah. That is such a great description.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. And yeah. So, okay, hold on. Also, then tell our listeners explicitly, like, your pronouns and identities so that they know.
So hi, everyone. I'm Brian Grainger. My pronouns are he, him, his. So I'm a gay man. And I'm a little bit fabulous.
Yes, you are. You really are. Y'all, can you tell them, or can I tell them about how you showed up with feathers to one of our...
Yes, please do. Well, it was such a breakthrough for me, but yes, please.
Well, it was like, wasn't it after I had done a reel where I wore that, like, feather collar, right? And you were like, wait a minute, where did you get these?
Yeah.
And then I feel like it was either our next or the one after that call, and you showed up with, like, white feathers and you were like, hello. And I, like, died. I was like, what? Hey, wait, hold on. Here you are. Yes. This is the Brian that has been here the whole time and has been shy and hiding. Like, hello,
and for everyone, just
fabulous.
to let everyone know, I also didn't have a shirt on, so I was topless. For everyone else, I'm a health and weight loss coach. I've been doing this for 15 years. I lost 50 kilos. I've kept it off for the 15 years. I've been teaching other people in the weight loss, I've been in the weight loss industry, teaching people how to do this. And never once in that time have I posted a shirtless picture online.
That's wild. Like,
You know,
also, did all the gays listening just get their mind blown that you can be uh, in the fitness industry and not post shirtless pictures? Like, what?
yeah, it's like maybe I was missing out. I didn't have all those thirst trap photos
Right.
up.
If you scroll back in my Instagram, that's like the only thing I posted.
Right. Well, for me, and the reason that it wasn't totally random, it wasn't just shame or shyness, although that was certainly in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was partially because so much of my work is about mindset. I believe that if we get the mindset right, then all of the other healthy habits, the food, the exercise, everything else flows from that. Like it comes from loving ourselves enough to want the best for our body. So I really had envisioned that. So in my mind, it was like, no, like I'm a mindset expert.
Yeah.
I don't need to be showing physique. And I don't teach people exercise routines. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I help them find the exercise that works for them, the movement that works for them, but I don't prescribe any of that. So I'm like, it's not really relevant. I don't want to attract people who just want like the tell me how to do it exercise plan and diet. I don't do that. It's like, okay, no, we have to love you so that you make the choices that really feel good for you, that are loving towards you, that are part of a devotion towards you. And I realized that even though I had been playing with these concepts for a long time and teaching other people them, there was these parts of me, there's this aspect of me where it was false, where I wasn't honoring my, my dark desires, etc. So, and, I've had so much body shame for everyone else, I had, who's listening, I had, a lot of weight, as I said, 50 kilos extra for most of my adult life. I was always the fat kid in high school, so I had a lot of bullying, a lot of being picked on, and a lot of shame about my body. And I really thought, growing up, coming of age, if you like, in the late 80s, early 90s, there was so much, stigma and shame about being gay in the middle of the rise of the AIDS crisis and things like that. And then the gay modeling, the role models that were around and, what was deemed attractive was always like waif thin, twink bodies, which are awesome, by the way. All the twinks out there, hello. I honor you. But it's like, oh, I don't have that. So therefore I can't have approval. I'm not good enough. I don't get to have what I want. And I just carried that for so long. And this is one of the ways it was showing up in my life, that I just wasn't proud of my body. I wasn't willing to show it off. So anyway, that's a long story. Coming back to the point though.
Well, can I point out one thing right before you do that though? It's so interesting too to hear like the way that you coach is that there isn't you don't prescribe a specific workout plan because you're like, there isn't this perfect way. We got to go find your way, right? And you were getting so discouraged when you were in a coaching program that was doing the opposite of what you teach your clients.
Oh, it was. I didn't even realize that at the time that it was like that. It hadn't come into my awareness, but it's so true because it was like, this is the way you do it. This is the formula that you do. You launch in this way over this many days, and this is the 6-week cycle, and this is how you have to be putting yourself out there all the time. And like, I got to the point where I just couldn't do it. I couldn't face social media anymore. I couldn't and prior to that, I'd been doing Facebook Lives in my Facebook communities and things like that, like weekly all the time wasn't a problem. A lot of my coaching work at that time was group coaching. So I was up in front of people. That was never a problem.
Yeah.
But I just got so averse to doing it because, in the end, it was a way of traumatizing myself, I think, because it's like I couldn't be me.
Yeah. It's interesting how like our brains find those little ways. Like as you made strides in being yourself in other areas, then some places like within your business specifically, your brain was like, okay, well, I will find a new way that I can be incorrect. Somebody else has the rules and I'm fucking it up by being myself.
Yeah. There's a right way to do it. And clearly I'm not doing that. So let me go find someone else to tell me the right way to do it.
Yeah. So good. Okay, so wait, go back. What were you saying?
Oh yeah, we're
before
gonna come
I
back to the shirt. The feathers.
yes, the feathers.
Because I'd seen Alex do that reel, and I'm like, oh my god, these are absolutely fabulous. I love it. I love this look. I'm like, my god, where do I get these?
Amazon,
do I have
you
to
all.
find a drag store? What, like, where does this happen? Turns out things are available online, y'all. Amazon or eBay or whatever. There are things everywhere. We might come back to that later. Things being more available than we think. But I found some, and then I'd had this whole thing of not being willing to be seen shirtless and all that sort of stuff. And I had thought, my thought was, when I ordered these feathers, and I did also buy the big feather collar thing as well. It hasn't arrived yet, so I'm still looking forward to that one.
Ooh.
It'll appear on Instagram or Facebook when I get it. But I was thinking I would take it, like I'd wear it to my dance class. Kind of the one area in my life where I'd let myself be me was in like a social dance class, like ballroom and Latin and jazz.
Oh my God, that's so fun.
Dancing, and it is really fun. And I love dancing, even though I keep telling myself I hate dancing and I never go to clubs and stuff because I don't know how to dance. So for me, part of my brain likes rules, like structure. I like to know, okay, there are steps, there are things that you do. And so that felt safe to play for me. Mm-hmm. And so I did. I've always loved it. I still classify myself as a beginner. I'm not amazing, but I always love getting into the character of the dance and playing it up. And it's the one place where I kind of get in trouble for being too flamboyant sometimes. But I love it. I love that. So it was the one place where I just felt this joy of like just letting go. We call it being unrestrained, right? Releasing the reins and just letting myself be who I am and just playing it up and having fun with it, which in so much of my life I felt has been not allowed to have fun. We might come back to that too, about adulting for a long time. And so I'd love these places, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll buy the feathers and I'll wear them to my dance class, because that's the place where people already accept me and love me. Like, it's a same-sex dance class. So it feels safe to do that. And then they arrived and I'm like, let me just try these on. Yes. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, I love these. And I'm like doing a little dance, and I'm like, and so then I thought, do you know what? I'm going to surprise Alex, and I'm just going to show up to my next coaching call without my shirt on, just my feathers, and like just go, hey, do you know what? I'm letting myself be me. Here it is. I'm letting myself. And by the way, everyone was like so nervous. I was like freaking out. Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. No. I'm practicing allowing myself to be. I'm practicing letting go of shame. There's one place I can do it. I can do it here. Right. I'm with Alex, right? So yeah, I mean, you had created that container of safety for me, just to have my own approval, to have my own back, to to always hold space for me being okay. And it's so valuable just to have some space where I could explore, where I could play around with that. So I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, I showed up and they'd be like, so everyone, he was literally speechless.
I was. And it takes a lot to make me speechless. Yeah.
It was so great. And then I was so in the zone afterwards. I'm like, yes, I'm loving it. I'm living this confidence. I'm feeling fabulous. Let me just go and do a Facebook Live right now of me having a little dance and showing off. And so I made a post about body confidence. And finally, I said I'd talk about it a lot, which I have, but I realized I hadn't been living it 100%. I'd been living it 85% or 80%. And I'm like, do you know what? Let's go all the way out there. And, I'd always been worried about, what will my clients, my past colleagues, my extended family members, what are they all going to think? Worried about those judgments and things. And like one of the things you've helped me do, one of the most powerful things I think in our coaching time has been this idea of turning up the volume on me, like letting myself be and just turning that up. And then the people who love it, like shine that light and like you called it releasing that star energy, which was so beautiful for me. And then let the people who love it gravitate toward it. Be seen, which is relevant for dating people. We'll come back to that in a minute.
Right.
But letting myself be seen, letting it be out there, let the people who like it or love it, celebrate it.
Yeah.
And the people who don't, turn away, do their own thing, unfollow, unsubscribe, or not contact me anymore. And like, okay, I'm willing to allow that. And I put it out there, and all I've received is outpourings of love and support. And oh my God, you're so beautiful, and you're so energetic, and we love you. And like, put it all out there. Like, it was just overwhelming support. And if there was no negative comments, if anyone didn't like it and they're not there, well, I haven't missed them.
Right.
Right. I haven't noticed. So sorry if you unfollowed me as a protest. I didn't notice.
Right. So sorry, you were unimportant to me. Like, but for real, isn't this so awesome that that's the way that you're looking at it now? Like, it really is okay with you if people leave. It's okay. And look at also the support that was already there waiting to just cheer you on. Like, these people fucking loved you, and you had this like mental wall up of, I don't know what they'll say. I'm afraid of what they will say. And so you actually cut yourself off from the opportunity to receive that. And as soon as you pulled it out of the way, you showed them who, like, here I am in all my glory. And then they had the opportunity to be like, yes, bitch, go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just laughing because the one conversation I had with my mother afterwards, who also posted something lovely, she was like, yes, it was fabulous. And then she's like, I hope you had pants on. And I'm like, yes, mother, like, you can see the waistband of my shorts in one of the piece of the shots. And you know what? I didn't care anyway. So yes, thank you.
I hope you had pants on. That's such like a mom thing. Like, honey, I celebrate you, but I want to find some piece of advice to give you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I love it. It was beautiful. And then so I love that she comes to like, and do you know what? I think I got some of this idea of being a little bit fabulous, being willing to dress up like from her. She's shout out to mom. Hi, mom. She loves getting up in costume, and the local town has a festival every year where everyone gets up in costumes, and at the drop of a hat, she'll get in an elf costume or a fairy costume or a Madonna costume or whatever. She'll get out the tulle and the boas or whatever.
Oh my God, she sounds fabulous. Okay, yeah.
He's a scream.
Well, of course, you got it from her. Thanks, Mom, for the for the fabulous gene. Oh my God. Okay, that is so awesome. So and so helpful, just to remind everyone that, like, really, there's such a fear that we naturally have of being rejected. And when you learn to be able to have your own back, this is what it looks like. You end up putting yourself out there and receiving the support that's literally been waiting there the whole time.
And that's the thing, right? It's not just, oh, no one rejected me, or I didn't get the hate I was expecting, right? Or I'm okay with that. Like, I can welcome it and like, I bring it. Mm-hmm. You've got it. If you've got a disagreement, you don't like me, you don't like who I am, you don't like my thoughts, beliefs, who I sleep with, then, okay, well, you go be you then. Like, no problem, go away. But it wasn't just the absence of the hate. It was the opening to the love and support, which was always there, as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, the key thing for mum was the willingness to be a little bit silly, to play. And so crazy, because I spent so much of my life denying that.
Yeah, tell us more about that. Explain that.
Okay. So, so when I started, because I used to think, like, my demeanor, the way my personality is, the way I was always thought of myself, is that I'm very serious. Mm-hmm. Like in my youth, my parents got divorced, and I still, to that day, there's a particular day there where we moved house. And for me, I know that was the day in my mind, not from anyone else, but in my mind, that's the day my childhood ended. And so from that time, like, in my mind, I have to be the man of the house. I have to be an adult now. I have to look after my siblings. I have to be responsible. And so for all of my adolescence and my young adulthood and really for my life, so I became this very serious person. And that was how I'd been defining myself. And I was really frightened. I had a fear about play, this idea that playing was wrong, it was bad. And then, it added into that, like to the body shame and being overweight and, being gay, like the only thing I knew about, being gay in the late 80s and early 90s was that gay people got AIDS and died. That was it. And, we know that was the truth for so many, but it's not the only truth. It's not the totality of the truth.
Yeah.
And so for so long, I just had, I was walking around with this idea that play is bad. I can't just have fun. I can't let go. I have to be serious. I have to be sensible. I have to be controlled. I like to say I'm a card-carrying member of the Control Enthusiasts Club. I know there's lots of others out there.
Get your card stamped.
Yeah, because I think, you talk about this as a way of creating safety, right? We try and control everything else. We can try our environment, we try and control other people, we can try who sees us, who doesn't see us, how we present, so that we can feel safe. Which is, it works to an extent. It never works perfectly because I don't know if anyone knows this who's listening, but you can't actually control other people. You can't control circumstances. I know, right? Like, come on. Look, just do.
Can we try harder? Will it work if we try harder?
I don't think so. It's never been my experience.
I know. Same.
I know. Like, just like I used to think that even with my weight loss clients, I'm like, just do what I say. It works. Like, despite my whole thing about we have to find your way and we have to, like, just do it. Right. But we have to give ourselves permission to release some of that control and to not be perfect and to allow ourselves to really be. And that was the thing for me then. I just couldn't let myself be seen because I wasn't willing to look at myself. Like, there were these parts of me that, I just wasn't willing to look at. So it's been such a delight to discover this sense of play. I know I said something in the mastermind one of the times with Alex and the group that I've been playing around with something, and like Alex says, wait, hold on, you've been what? Because I hadn't let myself play. I hadn't let myself have permission to use the word.
Yeah, well, I distinctly remember it was either our first or second call.
Yeah.
And we talked about play, and you had this visceral reaction to the word. And I was like, let's not do that. And you're like, but I need to. And I was like, I don't think you do, because it doesn't sound like you like it. You're like, well, I don't, but I need to like it. I said, well, that's not gonna work. Let's not work on playing right now since you actually hate it, right? And then for those listening, just so you understand a little bit more about yourself, if you're in the same boat, if you are in the Control Enthusiast Club, and you actually genuinely right now have this part of you that really hates play, forcing yourself is only going to make it worse, right? And that's what you were finding.
That's what I was doing. I was trying to I was forcing myself to show up, to coach, to launch, to try and be a certain way. And if it's false, it burns you out. And it was the same thing all the way along through this whole journey. Like Alex's, I think I finally learned the process, which is, be willing to feel the discomfort, right? Yeah. And then take actions towards it. And that was what I'd never been letting myself do. I've been feeling discomfort and backing away.
Yeah.
Right. And, and then step 3, I've learned it now, is have your own pack.
Yeah.
But I used to not let myself feel that discomfort, and it was wrong. And I thought, coming to coaching with Alex, the only way to do that was to force myself to do it, was to get so uncomfortable, to get out, I kind of feel like it was like getting out of my skin. I had to literally jump off the cliff. I had to, force myself to get so uncomfortable. We talked about the roller coaster. We should maybe talk about that scale.
Oh my God. Yeah. Go for it.
So I had this scale of discomfort. Everyone, it started out with just a mild unpleasantness and an aversion. And then it ramps up to fear of doing it, and then to the actual discomfort of doing it. And then it's the, oh my God, screaming, I'm there, heart pounding, really in it. Yeah. And then I had level 5 as death.
Right. Yeah.
Dying. And I thought the only way to get over it, because I'd heard in coaching circles, and I'd heard, you got to face your fear, you got to, be willing to walk into it, feel the fear and lean into it and all these sorts of things. But I thought that meant that you had to then go all the way to death, basically. Right. Off the charts, off the scales. The only way was to jump and leap and go in so completely. But my body, my mind, my inner self was so it was so far beyond what I could allow for myself, what I believe for myself, and what was safe. I could never get myself to do it. And I used to hate myself for going, I'd walk up to the door of a gay bar and then not go in right. My youth. I'd agree to go to a party or something, and then I'd make an excuse at the last minute not to go. I'd get right up to the point of asking someone out, right? About, ooh, I like you. Do you want to hang out? And chickening out. And I used to beat myself up about that so hard for so long.
Yeah.
About that. I'm just not good enough. I'm just not courageous enough. I can't do it. And
which is funny because when you say it out loud, it's really the only way to be successfully facing your fear is to feel like you're on the edge of death 24/7.
Yeah.
What? That's shit advice.
Yeah. And I didn't even realize that I was kind of in that forcing myself place until you pointed it out. We actually had this discussion and because as we've been working, I've been doing some things.
Yeah.
It's been fun. And actually allowing myself to feel the discomfort. And I did that. I wore the feathers and I did the video, even though it was a bit scary, but I was willing to love myself enough to do it. I was willing to be there for me and do it. And I'm oh, that was only kind of uncomfortable. And by the way, everyone, kind of fun. The discomfort was fun, right? That existential kink thing's ooh, actually the thrill here is a little bit fun.
Yes.
And then you said to me, well, you don't have to go to the death scale, to the edge of death. You can just keep doing that again, that amount that you're willing to experience now, and just keep doing that. And then your capacity for more, the scale on the side of the graph, changes. Right? Because we grow the capacity. That's what confidence is. It's the capacity to feel it and to know that we're okay. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And the other thing too, that visual was so good in pointing out, and I want to just help everyone think about this for themselves right now, what feels like a 3 or a 4 on that scale of 1 to 5 will eventually feel like a 1 or a 2.
Yeah.
And
the 11 on the 10-point fear scale comes back to a 5 or 6 or 7.
Right. So it's not that you're doing anything wrong when the things start getting less scary. You're doing it correctly. And that was a conversation we had too. You were like, well, I don't feel terrified anymore. So I don't think I'm doing it right. And I was like, no, you're doing perfect. Look at now your capacity. What's within your comfort zone now is way more than it was a few months ago. So at any point you get to decide, oh, I'm done. I like this comfort zone. Like, I don't care. Whenever you feel like you're at the point, right? To me, I feel like my whole life is going to be that journey of constantly like going and finding the new edges. And I believe that's true of you too. Probably most
me
people.
Too. Absolutely.
Right.
I'm all in for this now. Like, oh, actually, I don't have to go to the point of scaring myself to death to try and get over it, to face that fear. I can ease myself into it. And this was such a big part of our work together, because I thought I used to have to force myself. I'm gonna have to build up the courage and just jump and leap and have faith. And instead you're like, no, what if you just ease into it? For me, it became the metaphor of just letting myself fall, like standing on the edge of the cliff. Or you shared an example about skydiving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that you just lean. You don't actually jump out of the plane. You just lean and fall. And that's just something I could visualize for myself, that I could let myself do. I go, oh, hold on, wait. I can just let myself fall here. I can just trust that maybe, just possibly, I can have what I want, and I can allow myself to have it. And I can just fall into the openness of the experience. And this was so key, right? Not expecting then that I'm going to magically be fixed or solved after it, but I'm going to have an experience. And then I get to decide what parts of that experience I recreate, do again, keep practicing, and what parts I don't. And that was such a key moment for me. It's like, I was just like, what if you had the experience and then decided if you liked it or not? Because up until then, I was not letting myself have the experience. I was just deciding ahead of time that I wouldn't like it, that it would be horrible, that it would be awful, that it would be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out, sometimes it's not so bad. Sometimes it is bad, but sometimes it's not so bad.
Isn't that fun?
It's totally fun now.
Right. And now that you like play and find, like genuinely enjoy them, now you're on the roll there. Now you're enjoying it, right? That's the big word there. It was like, if you don't enjoy play, then let's not use that word play, and let's not even try to force play. Let's just what do you enjoy right now?
Yeah, that's right. Everybody knows non-consent is not enjoyable.
Right.
It's okay. It's not enjoyable. Don't do it for yourself.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. Self-consent.
Yes.
Yeah. You're totally right, because that's what you're doing when you're like forcing yourself to death every time, and then you're like traumatizing yourself by like not actually having your own consent. Ooh.
Yeah. And then beating yourself up afterwards for not, what a terrible cycle.
Yeah.
Self-fulfilling shame. So
that is that right there is the podcast. Self-consent. Shit. Yeah. That's good. I would love for you to share with everyone how this has translated into your dating now.
Yeah. So exciting for me. So for everyone else, I'm going to share this on the podcast. Yes, I am. Because I release shame. I'm willing to feel it all. Yes. So for everyone, so I'd had some experiences in my youth, which were not great. They were consensual, but it felt a little bit non-consensual. Mm-hmm. In that I wasn't really speaking up for what I wanted. It wasn't willing and enthusiastic consent sort of things. It was just like, maybe we can, or, I was getting some pity sex or some, things like that. It just feel awful, by the way. Don't do that to anyone. Yes. So anyway, so I'd had some experiences, and then, I then decided, like, I'd had that extra weight on. I was buffering my feelings by eating and putting myself down. I just had this spiral. And then finally, I decided to do something about it. And I lost the weight, and I thought, oh, magically, I'm going to lose the weight. And then all the guys are going to be coming, right? Like, I'm going to be a beacon. I'll be fending them off, like, I'll be so attractive. I'll have so many options. And, I did the outside work on changing my body, but I hadn't done the inside work on really, truly loving all of me and allowing myself. So I kind of just shut myself down. It was almost like I became asexual for a long time there. So it was like 15, 16 years where I didn't date. I basically didn't have sex. Yeah. And I just didn't allow myself to have it. I was just too in fear, and then being too responsible. I'm like, oh, I've got to focus on my work. I've got to focus on my job. And I realized that I'd done it throughout my life to have a good excuse for not actually looking at me in the mirror and not actually, like, going, what do you actually want? Who are you? What do you want to have? What do you want to achieve? And I really not let myself see myself until we did this work. So anyway, long story short, so I've been talking about getting back in the dating pool for a long time. And I've even had profiles on some of the apps and things for a long time, but they're all very, safe and nice. And, I like music, and I like, and I'd be willing to put, like, really out there. I like classical music, and I like ambient electronica, like edgy,
Oh my God, I love you.
That's my point of difference, So I'd put these things out there, and it would be very nondescript and be very safe and very kind of like nothing to object to, but nothing to also be drawn to, nothing to be attracted by, nothing to love or to be repelled by.
Yes.
And then,
so neutral.
Yes.
Very boring.
Yeah.
Really. Like, that's what it ends.
Very boring.
And boring is safe.
Yeah. Yeah. I did it for so long to keep myself safe because I didn't have to risk being seen, being rejected by someone. Right. I could just, oh, well, no one's messaged me. No one's contacted me. No one's swiped right, or whatever. Give me a wall for a match or whatever. So one of the things we've been exploring in our work is going, well, what do you want? And allowing myself to actually, like, look at my desires and go, actually, well, what am I into? What actually turns me on? Where is the thrill in it for me? We discovered some of it's in the taboo. It's in the, in the kink.
Yeah.
So
the kink, the edgy, like, that's my favorite. I'm like, is it not allowed? Cool. Now I'm interested.
Yeah. All the things that you're not supposed to do. And I think as queer people, we all have, I can't speak for everyone, but my experience has been very much that we have a little bit of that because, I grew up in a time when it's wrong to, if I want to kiss a guy, not allowed to do that. Want to put where? No, that doesn't go there.
Right. Yeah. So literally, like, kink is all about shame. So it literally all of our experience is kink.
Yeah.
When it's made to be taboo and wrong. Yeah.
That's when we think it's wrong to just be who we are, then it's no wonder that we get a little bit of a thrill from enjoying the wrong. If we're going to let ourselves be authentic and go, do you know what? Yeah, I like guys. I'm going to let myself feel that and experience that. And at the time, knowing it was a little bit wrong was a bit thrilling.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had all of this going on in the background, and we'd come to the place where I'm like, okay, no, I'm willing to be me. I'm willing to see. I've got, like, here are the things I actually like, or here are the things I think I like that I haven't tested out, but I'd like to test out with someone.
Right.
And Alex was like, well, what if you checked out one of these apps or another app where, like, we just have a bit longer profile, and what if you just said it?
Right.
What if you just put out there exactly what you're looking for, exactly what you're not looking for, who you're interested in, and see. And I'm like, no, like, Alex, I've been trying that for like 15, 20 years, all my life. I've been trying to get what I want. And there just aren't people out there. There's no one around. There are no other guys who's interested in what I'm interested. It's not possible. They don't exist. Like, these are the stories that I was telling myself to keep myself safe, because I didn't have to go out there and look. I didn't have to risk. I didn't have to, face the possibility that it might be true, which isn't. Anyway, so we put my profile. I put my profile up. It took me 2 hours to decide on my name.
I forgot about that.
Like, I downloaded the app and like, okay, I'm in it. I'm in my mind. I know how to say what I've decided what I'm going to ask for and what I'm interested in. I'm just going to put it out there. Yes, I'm ready to go. Name. Oh shit. I don't know. What am I going to do? Am I going to use one of these codes? Am I going to try and be clever? What are all these other people doing? Like, Alex, you didn't tell me that I would have to put a name. I was like, I freaked out for 2 hours going, I don't know what to do. What's the right thing? Oh my God, I got to get this right. Like, in the control club, there's a right way to do it. I got to do it perfectly. I'll stuff the whole thing up. And then eventually I remembered that, hold on, wait, what am I doing here? I'm releasing the shame. Mm-hmm. I'm refusing to be shamed for what I want and for who I am. Mm-hmm. So you know what? I'm going to write my name.
Right.
And so I got past that. So I just made my profile name is just my name.
There you go.
And then I put out there what I wanted. Like, this is what I'm interested in. This is what I like. This is what I'm interested in exploring. Like, I put in there that I'd recently learned that I had this idea about kink and taboo that was new. Like, previously I always thought kink was like pain and bondage and, whips and chains.
Right.
I know might excite some people. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, no, I don't like pain. Pain is bad. I have to avoid pain at all costs. So I can't feel out of control. So I can't be restrained. Like, no, this is not safe, not permissible for me. And so I rejected all of that. And okay, right. Well, let me just put out what I'm going to do. Like, I've discovered this kink thing. I want to explore sensation play. I want to explore some things that maybe are a little bit taboo.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing, the thing that blew my mind was that like there's no one around ever. Can't find anyone. I've been looking. I moved to a big city. I've been looking for 20 years. There isn't anybody. This app tells you how close people are. And then there were all these people messaging me. There were all these guys who are hot guys interested in what I wanted within walking distance of my house. A kilometer, less than a mile. It's like, oh my God, what? There are people here who just might want what I want.
Right.
It might actually be possible.
I can't help but laugh every time you tell me this, because like, it's so true. And I laugh because I've been in the exact same place. Like, and I'm guilty of exactly the same things, talking about the most bland things about me that are not the things that really are going to really turn someone on, the right people on, right? I kept my volume low and I kept the station tuned to something very neutral.
Yeah.
Versus like really tuning into like, okay, here's really who I am. And then here's really what I want. So like, I laugh because I'm like, yes, this is the experience I had too. And I know for certain it'll be the experience that anyone listening that's like, you got to be kidding me. This can't work. And then goes and does it. Your mind is going to be blown, y'all. It fucking works. You will have DMs not long after you honestly say, here's what I'm actually looking for. It's wild. And it is scary because you're being explicit about your wants and desires. And if you haven't done the work to be okay with your wants and desires and to heal the shame around it and to have the confidence to have your own back, then yeah, it's going to be kind of triggering for you. That's why we do the work we do in the Confident Queer program.
Yeah, you have to do that work ahead of time, but it doesn't have to be hard. This is the thing. I always thought it had to be hard. It had to be painful. It had to be super uncomfortable, and it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It can. We can do it in a way that's safe. And the beautiful thing is, like, for me, just to keep going on there, is that, like, now I've been having some dates, and I'm even doing things like speaking up on the dates for what I want, asking for what I want. You know, you did the confident as fuck workshop.
Yes.
And even that was so powerful. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm now on the date, or I'm meeting this person. And then I noticed the first couple of dates, I was still kind of people pleasing. I was worried about their pleasure, not worried about my pleasure. I was like, oh, I have to make sure that I get approval here, that they have a good time. And so just recently I've been like, okay, do you know what? Asking, talking about it ahead of time, asking for consent, of course, but it's like, I've been really struggling with, like, just receiving pleasure. So would you be okay if I just, like, lay here in starfish and you just do with me whatever you want?
Yeah.
And, like, this guy I was playing was like, okay, I'm into that.
Right.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah. And the cool thing too, the more you do that, your example then sets an example for others to do the same. And you'll, like, for our listeners that, like, are like, wait, hold on, this is all blowing my mind, right? Get ready, because as soon as you start asking for what you want on a consistent basis, your partner or partners will also feel the comfort to ask for what they want. You've been spending your time trying to people please them and figure out what they want, and, like, totally out of your own head. And the actually most helpful thing for both pleasing them and pleasing you is just you asking for what you want.
You have to give yourself permission, and then you give them permission, and they're allowed to say no. They're allowed to object. And, like, I'm okay with that. It's like, okay, well, we won't do that. Let's do something you do want to do. Let's find something together. Let's find a want match here, right?
Right.
Let's make this mutual, enjoyable fun, right? And that was so many things that, all these things that were so wrong or bad. And one of the things you said to me, Alex, along the way is like, hold on, this is two consensual adults doing something they both agree and want to do.
Right.
Like, oh. So it is allowed. Maybe.
Right.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And if it's a little bit naughty and you've got this kink, this taboo, this shame, where your shame becomes also the thrill, then all the better.
Yeah. Yes. Preach. Okay.
Yeah. So do this work, people.
Yes. Do it. And I want to, before we close, can you just, because I loved your tip about finding 100 new things, can you tell everyone how you've done that with food, and then how it translated into other areas so that they can do this exercise?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I started my weight loss journey, I thought it was just the takeaway and the alcohol and the afternoon happy hour, cheese and nut platter, that was my extra weight. It was all just the junk food. And when I started doing the program that I was doing, which really gets you to look at everything you're eating, and I started recording everything I was eating and really paying attention to it. And then I realized, oh, it's everything. It's not just these extras. It's all my daily habits, all of my food. I have to start from scratch. And so what I did there is I'm not going to relearn everything at once. I'm just going to start. And I made a commitment with myself in that, like, very first week or two of my weight loss, that I was like, I'm going to do one new recipe a week. And as I've done that, and I've sort of continued to do that over the years, so, like, it's 15 odd years now. And sometimes, and look, honestly, people, I'm not 100%. It's not a new one absolutely every single week. Sometimes it's a variation on a theme, or I try cooking something a different way, or I just add one different ingredient, or I swap a vegetable. It doesn't have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be from scratch, brand new. But I shake it up. I cook it a different way. I try a different recipe. But lots of it was trying a new recipe, and I'm just trying things out. And what I discovered along the way is that I didn't love everything, but there were things that I did love and I did enjoy. And I'm like, oh, this is a healthy choice. It's in a healthy balance. I like it. I like the way it feels in my body. It works for my weight loss journey. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to keep it. I'd make a favorite. And I made this folder of favorites. And, I came to the place where like, oh my God, I could just like go from my favorites. Like I can find new favorites and I can go through them and I could have a new recipe every meal for like months without a repeat, just with my favorites. Now, I see so many people get stuck on, here's the one thing I like. Here's the one breakfast. This is the breakfast I like. I have it every day. I enjoy it. And like, okay, if that really is your truth, then let's celebrate that. Have you opened the possibility though? What if you had 5 favorites? What if you had 10 favorites? And so I teach my clients that you can find new favorites. And what I love when you pointed out to me during our 6 months, I had to move house. And I've been looking for places and I've been finding some. And there was one like, oh, I love this one. This is my favorite. I want it so hard. And then it turned out a few days later that they shouldn't actually even been showing it to people. They actually had a tenant lined up to go in there straight away. There I'm like, but that was my favorite. And then Alex reminded me that the story of favorites came up. I'm like, oh, I can find new favorites.
Yeah.
And like instantly I was able to like, oh, okay, well, I can just decide the next one's my favorite or the next one, or I can just keep looking until I find a new favorite. And that's what I did. And I'm so grateful now in terms of the house because I've now found a new place and I love it. And I think I love it even more than the previous favorite. So everything happens for us, not to us. But you can find new favorites. And then you have to keep reminding me. I love that you keep reminding me. It's like, you can find that with guys too.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I could find new favorites to play with, or I could find new people to love or have these interactions with. I could do it with experiences. I can find new favorite experiences instead of just restricting myself to the 5 things I like in my life or that I've allowed because of safety. There's so much more. This is why I've been loving this work so much, and I was so excited to share it with everyone. It's everyone I've just renewed for another 6 months because I want more. I'm going again. Yes. Because I'm getting to know myself. I'm discovering what's possible for me. I'm discovering my true desires, and I'm finally allowing myself to have it. And I'm discovering that it's so much more than I thought was possible. And, as I do it, I'm like, ooh, actually, this is kind of fun. And I can do it, and it is possible for me, and I want more of it. Let's keep going. So for me, this is a lifetime now. I'm not stopping this confidence now. This is like, oh, I know the process. I know I can do this. It was actually easier than I thought when I let myself do it, when I just gave myself consent, when I just fell into it and allowed.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for adding that for everyone. I think that is such a helpful framework. And just such a great tip. And thank you also for the what do you call that? The testimony, right? I appreciate that.
Of course.
All right. Well, can you let everyone know? We will link your sites and everything in the show notes, but let everyone know like quickly what it is you do and how to find you, because if they want to work with a coach who really gets this shit and is going to work for, like, they know you now, they want to work with you. If they want to lose weight, you're the coach.
Honoring yourself and honoring a little bit of your own fabulousness, finding your light to shine. Like doing it in a way that's easy for you. Okay, this is what I do with my work with people. It's so interesting that all through my journey, I'm an expert. I do this with my clients in the weight loss zone. And Alex just kept pointing out to me all throughout our journey, it's like, you could apply that to the rest of your life.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah. I kind of already know how to do this. I just need to stop siloing it in this part of life. Anyway, so how do I help people? So I really, truly believe that I help people come to self-acceptance, to self-love, and from that place to love themselves healthy, right? The only diet that's going to work is the one you can do forever. So I help people make those lasting changes, right? Really unpick and unwrap and dismantle the habits that haven't been serving us, those old unhealthy habits that we formed. So we figure out why, we pull those apart. And then I help people from love, make more loving choices towards themselves. I've been playing around with this idea of helping people become devoted to themselves, being in a place where like food becomes an offering, a worship.
Yes.
Right. It's a sacrament. It's a gesture of respect.
Yeah.
So we treat ourselves with reverence. And as I've allowed myself to do that, oh my God, things are so much better. And so I help people do that. So I help people rebuild their habits in a way that they can sustain. We find their process, their joy in food that's going to work. So if people are interested in that and anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to chat with anyone about that. So you can check out my website at livemorelife.com.au. I'm in Australia, so .com.au. You can reach out to me on Instagram at Live More Life Coaching, or one word. Or you can find me on Facebook, Live More Life Coaching, or just look for Brian Grainger. Look for the fabulous. You'll find him.
Oh my God, I love it. And we'll put all of that in the show notes so you all can go down there and click on that and give Brian a follow. Go check out his social media and everything to get more information and to start like practicing this. It doesn't need to be as difficult as you might have been making it on yourself, the weight loss. So
check out my Instagram. You can see me dancing in the feathers if you want to do that.
Yes, get the feather video, you all. You want the feather video, trust me. It's a good one. All right, any final words?
Thank you, Alex, for this amazing experience, for helping me be more me, and inviting me for this opportunity to share it with everyone. So I just want to say to everyone, like, yes, you have the doubt and the fear and all those things, and it's okay. None of that's a problem. It's not a reason to stop. It's not a reason to do this work and to invite yourself into allowing yourself the awareness and the confidence to be who you are.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for sharing your light. Thank you for being extraordinary and sharing your light with everyone else. It really is such a gift you've given everyone today.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Radiant. You're being radiant. I was trying to think of that word. All right, y'all. I will see you on the next episode. Bye. Oh my God. Wait, don't jump off just yet. I don't know if you saw it, but I have a new program for queer plus people. Anyone who considers themselves in the LGBTQIA plus spectrum, you are welcome, even if you're in a straight presenting relationship. The new program is called Worthy, and it's a sex and relationship program to either take your existing relationship deeper and create more intimacy by having the confidence to speak up for your desires. And it also means we're going to do some work on getting clarity on what the hell your desires are in the first place, because most people don't even know. If you are single, you are also welcome to join. This is like the best way you could possibly ever start your dating experience, because if you show up with the confidence to ask for what you want and to speak specifically on it, you're also going to save yourself so much time on the bullshit of dating. So come on in. You've got just over a week to join Worthy. March 22nd, 2022, we kick off. I can't wait to have you in the room with me. All the information you need to join is down in the show notes. See you there. If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend so they too can become more confident. You can also help more people find the show by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. And if you want to become a more confident queer with support from yours truly, head to coachalexray.com or use the link down in the show notes. I'm looking forward to working with you.